Welcome to Woman Ki Baat. I'm Lalitha.dhara. 75-year-old Iqbal has just returned from the crematorium after bidding a final farewell to her beloved husband Satyapal. Alone in her living room, she pens a poignant letter, reading it aloud in the hope that he will hear her. In this moving episode, veteran actor Suhita Thatte lends her voice to Iqbal's letter of love and loss.
Dear Satyapal, never did I imagine this day would come. It was meant to be my turn, but you overtook me. I've just returned from the electric crematorium. There were people, and then there were more. No formal invitation had been sent, no announcements made. Yet, the news had traveled in the most human way, heart to heart, breath to breath. They stood shoulder to shoulder under the unrelenting heat. They came not out of obligation, not to be seen, but out of love. Quiet, aching, resolute love. For them, you were not just a leader. You were a compass, steady, unshaken, quietly pointing true. And for you, they were never just crowds. They were your people, your extended family. You remembered their names, noticed their absences, celebrated their small victories. You showed up for them in their protests, their harvests, their illnesses, their dreams. Satyapal, I don't even know how I carried myself through it all. I was dazed, not quite there. Faces blurred, voices faded. I could barely speak to anyone. Words felt too heavy, too fragile. Sitting there, my thoughts drifted back to the day I first met you. Do you remember? It was my very first day of college. You were standing near the entrance, composed, with that quiet authority. You looked at me and said, calmly but firmly, "You should go back. The students are on strike today." But I didn't listen. I was determined and completely unaware that the boy I was defying would one day become my partner for life. We had built something rare, a bond rooted not in possession, but in deep respect. We gave each other space, yet stood by one another through every turn. We made room for each other's dreams, carried each other's burdens, and somehow always found our way back to the same center. It was quiet, unwavering connection. You know, it was from you that I learnt my socialism, not as an ideology to be brandished or debated, but as a quiet ethic, a way of being, a way of being in the world. Your socialism showed in your humility and your refusal to ever let power sit too heavily on your shoulders. You were not just what you believed. You were how you walked, how you listened, how you traveled, how you ate, how you stood with the last person in the line, unafraid. unhesitant. I cherish the poetry you penned and the shero shairi you recited. I loved your stories from the school village, your earthy sense of humor, your unwavering commitment to my parents and my siblings. You moved through the world with a rare grace, a lightness of touch, yes, but also a steadfastness of principle. The two seldom coexist, but in you, they did so effortlessly, beautifully. I'm sure, I'm sure you could see the thousands who had gathered to say goodbye, not just here, but across towns, villages, in homes, and in hearts, where your name is being remembered with quiet reverence. You lived with such simplicity, fullness, and quiet courage. And now I find myself alone in the spaces you once so quietly and fully inhabited, especially in these past few months, in the hush of early mornings, in the long, quiet pauses that punctuate the day. I still catch myself waiting for your voice to rise with thought. Satyapal, we will make you feel proud in our own individual way and with love that continues without measure and without end. Your Iqbal.